Yes, guys, what's good? You're tuned into Mango Masala, Pi Radio's South Asian show. I'm joined here by Kamiikaze. Welcome. How are you doing?
Thank you. Very good. What about yourself?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Just, I think Blue January is coming up. So it's that time of year where everyone's just a bit post Christmas break, beginning of the year, a bit down in the dumps. But got to keep that positive energy up, which obviously you can do with this new song that you've released.
Thank you.
So, for the listeners that might not know that much about you, do you mind just telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got into music, how long you've been doing it, that sort of thing?
Okay, basically, my name's Kamiikaze. I've been into music for many years. I've started getting involved in music in my college days, and at that time it was more like a grime scene. You know, that's where I picked it up. How to, because I had friends and peers who were studying music as well at that time in college. So I learned how to record songs, how to do sound engineering, the basic things like how to record a song, how to master a song, that kind of stuff. Then slowly, as when time went on, I picked up more stuff. You know, how to create music, how to make a track. Back then it was more simpler because it was just grime music, and grime music, you know yourself, it's quite the way the song is quite similar all the way through. It's like the same beat all the way through the song. And then when I went to university, then I met more people who were actually music producers themselves, and started hanging around with them. I started picking up more stuff. Basically, it's because of the people that I used to hang around with and stuff. I picked up the skills as well. And also because of my interest in music from a young age, you know, that gave me that, you can say, that kind of push as well, you can say.
So how did you find it then if you started out doing grime and learning how to record that? What was it like moving from that to your more traditional non-Western music? Did you find that it was a lot harder to do, or were there some similar techniques that you used, or was it a bit of both?
Grime, as you know yourself, grime is just a simple kind of music, a simple kind of genre. It's a genre of rap. You know, it's quite repetitive in the way that it is. It's all the way through, it's the same beat. But whereas Asian music, or whatever name you want to give it, it's more hard, it's more sophisticated. You know, you have to keep on changing, composing the way the music, you have to actually compose. Whereas in grime music, you don't have to really compose. It's just the same beat looped around and that's it. Mm-hmm. It is a big difference between the both, but my heart was always in more traditional music, but with the Western touch, not your typical Asian music, you know, with your tabla and your dholak, and that's it, like the old school, like how the old songs were. I take the essence of that, but I mix it with more Western and more upbeat music. That's what I've been doing, you know, all my songs that I've released so far.
So that probably brings us on to your most recent song, Mutiyar, which you brought out at the very beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. So it seems like that's been doing well so far. So do you want to tell us a little bit about how that specific song came about and what it means to you?
The song Mutiyar itself, it's got more like a traditional feel. It's a Punjabi song, as you may have seen from the video and heard from the song itself. It features an artist who's a film singer. She's been singing in the films for over probably 30 years. She's the niece of a very famous singer, Azra Jehan. I don't know if you know who Azra Jehan is and stuff. She was her niece, and it is a big collab in its own right. Not many people get to work with her. She is a big legend in her own right and stuff. Like my collabs that I've done, I've always done with people who have recognition, who are quite famous in the music industry and stuff. But these are artists from back home. I don't really collab with artists from the UK, but I have started. You know, things always change all the time. Because I personally think it is important that we do keep the traditional heritage that we have. Yes, we can have rap in our songs. You know, we can have, you know, a little bit of MCing or grime or whatever and stuff, but we still have to keep the traditional essence. We still have to, and that's what is lacking a lot in these days. There's not much traditional songs. Traditional in the sense of the way the songs are, the concept of the songs, the lyrics, the composition and stuff. what I produce is quite different to you. You probably heard my previous stuff as well. It's quite different to what is being produced as well, because I can sense that a lot of the music what's coming out is a lot of mashup. It relates on mashups or cover versions and stuff like that. Which, no disrespect to anyone, if that's what they want to do, that's their own choice. I appreciate that. I respect that. But if an artist is trying to make their mark or trying to make their originality, they have to start off by making something original. They can't, produce mashup. 1 week, them do a mashup. The second week, they do another mashup. The third week, they do another mashup. That doesn't really bring much originality for an artist. You can go out and explore. I would say to explore and take some time out and research the music so you can have a full understanding to it, not just listen to a song that's been trending and decide that you want to do your version of it and you think you can get recognition from that. That isn't how music works, whether it's English music, whether it's Desi music, whether it's, I don't know, rap music. So I think the mashups, personally, they need to be kind of like calm down now, because it's just going to be an overkill. Everyone's deciding to do mashups and stuff every single week.
To be fair, I suppose the fact that everyone is focusing on those mashups and covers makes it even more refreshing when something like this, that is original content, comes through. Like it's very nice to hear something like, I know what you mean, like not just in Asian music, but I think in all music at the moment, there's such a big lean on sampling and rejigging stuff. And I think if it's done well and if it's not done all the time, then it works. But when you hear it all the time and not necessarily done that well, which again, that's people's own opinion, but I've heard quite a few songs recently which I've thought it would be so good if they just kind of took a fresh approach on it. So yeah, I definitely agree with what you're saying in that respect. So going back to the collaboration, obviously you've talked about how Azra Jehan is such like a esteemed figure. How did you actually secure that in collaboration then?
Because she sings for films. Obviously, a person who sings for films, like a playback singer, is always busy because their job is to sing for films. And it took me probably, could say, at least around 3 to 4 months to even get hold of her. Not seal the deal. That means just talking to her, to get in contact with her, because the situation is with the artists back home, you have to go through another person to get to them, like, I don't know, their agent or someone that takes their calls or something like that. It's not like you can pick up the phone or Instagram them and stuff and you're directly in contact with them. It doesn't work like that. You have to go through another third person, and that itself was a lengthy process. Then I had to find out whether she would be, if she wanted to take the project on or if she didn't want to take the project on as well. But because she heard my previous stuff, she heard that I worked with another female singer, which was my very, very first project. Her name was Humaira Channa. Herself, she's been featured in Coke Studio. I don't know if you're aware of Coke Studio.
Yeah.
There were a lot of artists in Coke Studio, and she was one of them. She's been a playback singer, again, for films for over 20 years, 30 years. And she's been on that platform, and because of that kind of, she goes like, I know you've been working with these kind of people. I will agree to work with you and stuff. And then we got cracking. I had a lot of Zoom calls, a lot of WhatsApp video calls to explain what the composition was, how I wanted the song to be sung. Because obviously the COVID, I was meant to fly over to Pakistan for 2 weeks, but that was quite short. I couldn't do that because of the COVID restrictions of going, sometimes we were in the red, sometimes Pakistan was in the red list, sometimes we wasn't in the red list and stuff. That did cause a lot of disruptions, but thankfully, due to technology and stuff, it's like how me and you talking now, that's the way that I could talk to her, so that wasn't much of a problem.
So you say it wasn't much of a problem then, because I'm interested, I think a lot of artists, especially in light of COVID, but also even before that, it's become a lot more commonplace to produce and make music not necessarily in the same room as each other. But how did you find that? It's not even the fact that you're not in the same room as each other. This is literally you're on different continents. Like, was there any issue when it came to actually bringing the track together, or did you find that it was pretty smooth sailing?
Oh, she did, we did have some rehearsals and stuff, and I did hear the rehearsals and stuff, but what I wasn't happy with was sometimes she's a good artist in herself, but like with any recordings, it doesn't the perfect recording doesn't always happen on the first time you actually sing on the mic. You have to take 2 attempts, 3 attempts, 4 attempts. But because she's been singing for such a long time and stuff, she mastered it within 2 takes, within 2 sessions. She done the song like that. She done it completed the whole song, vocals, which was quite fast. So I didn't really experience much of a problem with her, because obviously she's a artist that's been singing for quite some time. I think that had a big role to play in it as well. Because if you've been singing for over 20, 30 years, and you're to say, because she was familiar with the tune as well, so she picked it up like that, and that wasn't much of a problem.
Yeah. So if you've been singing for 20 or 30 years, a bit of technology isn't gonna be much of a barrier. It's not gonna stop you from making a good track.
It's really easier for the artists now, because back then there wasn't really back 20, 30 years ago and stuff. It was more or less the analog system. You know, them big reels that used to go around and round and round. There wasn't any copy and paste, or you know, you could cut this out on the computer and stuff. It was like you have that one take and that's it. If not, you have to do the whole song. If there's one mistake, you have to do the whole song all over again.
I suppose one could argue that that's very authentic in that it has to be one take, but on the other hand, you're right in terms of it is such a big benefit to be able to chop up stuff and put it back together, that sort of thing. You mentioned the video briefly before. What was the concept and inspiration behind that?
Well, obviously, the song itself, like I expressed, it's more of a cultural song, more of a folk song. So I decided that this video is shot in India. As you can tell from the video, it's shot in India because it helps with the cultural aspect of the song. It goes along with what the song is discussing. Mutiyar itself means a female in Punjabi, you know yourself. And the way the colors are, the clothes they wear, you know, the traditional clothing that they are, the way they act, what the song's about, it all goes in that kind of scenery. You won't get that kind of scenery in England at all. You won't get that scenery, you won't get that feel in England as well. So I thought that would be the best way if we go for the shooting in India, that would be, go along with the song.
Yeah, for sure. Like the video itself is incredibly colorful, which obviously reflects part of the culture. And yeah, you definitely wouldn't get that over here. You'd probably just get gray skies and everything. But probably coming to the end of the interview now, do you want to just maybe let us know what have you got planned for the rest of 2022? Anything imminent? Anything for later on in the year? Like, what has it got in store for you?
I'm working already. Currently speaking, I'm currently working on a few different songs. I'm working on one with one of the Bhangra singers, one of the old Bhangra singers from the UK. Well, we've just recorded that song. I'm just going to compose the music for that. There's another song which I've used. I don't know if you're aware of it. I done a song last year called Birmingham.
Right. Yeah.
It featured Naveed Central in the music video and stuff. He's like a vlogger. I don't know if you've come across him.
I've heard, yeah.
That singer who sang that Birmingham song, I've recorded another song with him, and I'm featuring a rapper from Derby. I think he's from Derby on that song, because I want to give a break to youngsters who want to be in the music scene, but they don't know where to go. That's another important part as well that I'll come across and I'll talk about in more detail. And he approached me, you know, he goes, look, I'm a rapper and stuff, you know, I really, really want to feature in one of his songs. And he sent me a few of his demos and stuff. And I go, you want to do it? He goes, yeah. I go, all right then, send your vocals. This is what the track's about. And he wrote down his bars, whatever you want to call them, bars or whatever they are. And he sent them to me, and we mixed them into the song, and it's a good vibe. There's 2 rappers on that song. Mm-hmm. So there's one from here and there's one from back home. Mm-hmm. So you've got your Punjabi rap and you've got your English rap 2 in 1. With me, I like to do different things. Like I like to do cultural songs. I like to do more upbeat songs. I like to do a little bit of Punjabi rap as well, which I've just discussed that song with yourself.
Mhm.
I don't like to just stick to one genre. I think that's boring. That's not really what an artist is about, or what a music producer is about. They should be able to adapt and try new things. I've also done a Sufi song as well that I've done last year as well, which had a more of a religious kind of devotional kind of feel to it. But you can't. I don't know how people. No disrespect to them again and stuff, but I don't know how people can produce stuff, but it's the same thing again and again and again and again. There's no inspiration. There's no variation. It's just like the same thing. It's like sometimes people, I hear someone doing one thing and then I hear another person do exactly the same thing. There's no variation with it. It's just like the same thing.
Yeah, I think the thing to emphasize is that it's possible to make content and material that sounds different, but then still has that same stamp of your production technique on it. Like, it's possible for producers to make songs that sound completely different, but then you can still tell, oh, it's that producer. Like that's what's impressive, when you can do multiple different genres or songs that all have their own unique flair to them, but then at the same time you can tell, oh yeah, that's so and so that's produced that, rather than them just producing, like you say, the same beat kind of regurgitated over and over again. Like, because you're right, it does get a bit boring, and it makes you think, like, if people do enjoy listening to the same,
it just gets repetitive. It's just like you listen to the same thing on repeat, but just in someone else's voice. That's how it seems to me. It's like to get repetitive and stuff. There needs to be more. I'd say there needs to be more creativity. Especially with the British Asian music stuff that's coming out. More creativity and more originality, definitely, by all means. Because these mashups and stuff, it's not. I think there are a lot of talented people, but they don't know. That's another thing that I was going to link to that point that I said about the rapper from Derby. There's a lot of artists that they want to work, but they don't know where to go. They don't know what channels to do. They don't know what channels to go through. They don't know who to contact. They don't know how to get a song produced. They don't know, because all they know is that they have inspiration, they have a good voice, but they don't know how to utilize it, basically, in a broad way. So, which is quite sad and stuff, because there's not much. I don't think there's much support for the newcomers, and a lot of newcomers do say the same thing as well. They go that there's not much support for new talent. There's no one who's established in a certain way that they approach us. There's no one approaching us. We have to do everything ourselves. But I think there should be more unity within the artists, especially in the British Asian music artists. More unity, work together, and the artists that need help, like upcoming artists and stuff, give them that helping hand. I'm not saying to you go out there and produce a song for them. Just give them that advice. Take that little time out. Give them some tips, because everyone started new. I started new. No one helped me. Everyone comes from a starting point.
You're definitely right, and I think there are people out there like yourself that are willing to give that helping hand. It's just a case of actually sourcing them, and I think it would be better if more people were as open to giving that helping hand. I think it's especially the case for up-and-coming Asian artists, because, I mean, up-and-coming artists in general, it's always hard to get into music. But when we think about, for example, white artists or artists going into genres that are generally consumed by the white majority population, it's a lot easier to go down those avenues, because everyone is doing that. Everyone knows what to do. There's a lot more people out there who can say this is the correct way to do it. But with British Asian music, first, of course, British Asians are a minority within the population, and then within that, you've got to find the other minority of the people that are actually involved in music and can actually help you. So, yeah, I mean, so anyone listening to this, if you need a helping hand, you know where to find them. Kamiikaze. So where can people find you?
Well, they can find me on my Instagram, which is Kamiikaze official backup. I'm active on there, but I'm on TikTok as well, which is at Kamiikaze official. The other two channels which I mostly use. where people can get hold of me and stuff.